English speakers. Today we'll talk about a little bit the usual stuff, crazy fascists and stuff, media, and rolling around in the quite wet snow now, so it's warm. But let's start by taking a big deep breath. So I just uploaded an English summary of the interview with Roger, who had basically a death sentence from his medical doctor that said you're going to die in cancer, and then the doctor got really pissed at Roger because he survived. So the story shorted down there, linked below to Minds, because it's the best place to look at it. If you're in Australia and you are using Facebook, poor you. Nothing bad at being at Australia, except that you have a crazy government. I guess that's something that happens in a lot of places. But there's a fight between Facebook and the government and the media in Australia. So if you want to link to media articles on Facebook, I would suggest that you link to media on your Minds account. That's much better. But if you really want to post it on Facebook, you can use archive.org or archive.is, as in Iceland. Then you can still post the links to the Australian media articles, and as a bonus you will not give any ad revenue to the media that you're talking about, which might be bad or might be good depending on what you think about that media. I always try to use Archive, one of the services, when I link to media that I don't like and I don't want them to have any income. The study from Barcelona about calcifediol has been retracted. They have to fix how they described the randomization. So unlike someone like New York Times and other propaganda outlets, I always report when I get something that is later on changed or corrected. There are more good news about nasal sprays and mouthwash, this time iota-carrageenan, which you can get as a nasal spray very easily. They haven't tried the nasal spray in this study, but they have tried it in a lab in vitro. So it says it works very well against viruses, which we of course already knew, but worth thinking about. And there are so many nasal sprays to select from now. Everything seems to kill viruses, so I don't know how anyone should have any problems in their nose or throat, because it's easy to solve actually. Twitter has banned Paul Sperry, which I don't know much about, but Twitter is continuing to becoming more and more irrelevant. I have a real problem reading Swedish Twitter now, because I haven't blocked all the very depressive people who just want more and more lockdowns, and their argument is technically bad. And we need more masks and we need more lockdowns, and that's their arguments. And I follow these people for other reasons, but then they have gone totally Covid1984 mad, so it's not good for my health to keep reading Swedish Twitter, most of it, but there's some good stuff, so I still read it a little at least. Swedish TV and Dagens Nyheter, which is New York Times in Swedish, are now attacking Nya Dagbladet, kind of new media, because they have done investigations into agencies, and that's bad. so they don't want that. USA, mass shootings are back. So in Philadelphia they had some 7 people shot, and of course our dear President Joe Biden has now opened the gates, and he wants to have very many more illegals coming in and bringing crimes and stuff. I don't know one single thing that Biden has done that is good for the American people. Joining the Paris Accord, giving away a lot of money to corrupt foreigners, joining WHO, giving away a lot of money to corrupt foreigners, supporting everything, and yeah, nothing going good from that administration, I would say. Brandon Smith write a good article, not for you maybe, but good articles that you can ask leftists. Why are they always allied with really bad oligarchs, Soros, the Rockefellers, and so on? They seem to always be liked by the most horrible people in the world. I will not say that the Rockefellers and Soros are the worst people in the world, but the left says that they want to have equality and so on, while the most oppressive kind of rich people and others, and of course the Chinese communists, are behind them. Isn't that a little bit strange? Are you really on the good side when all the evil people that you say are liking you? Then something is really wrong. Vaccines forcing is going on in New York City. One waitress who is about to get pregnant, she didn't want to take the vaccine, and I can tell you, don't take the vaccine if you're anything close to pregnant. It's a really bad idea. You're young and healthy, you should eat your vitamins and so on, and then COVID is a minimal risk for you and your child, while a vaccine is a huge risk. Huge. Don't take any vaccine unless you really have to, and not the experimental mRNA viruses and so on, if you're pregnant. That's just common sense, and this is information from the WHO, so don't ban me, YouTube. I'm spreading the information from authoritative sources that you just love. And in Indonesia, they are doing everything they can to force people to take these super good vaccines that everyone wants to take, so they have to force people, and you can't get anywhere and you can't get your money if you don't take these wonderful vaccines that somehow needs some encouraging before people are interested to take it. In UK there are some ministers that are really pushing the push over Boris Johnson, that they should have localized vaccine passports, so that you can't enter a pub, you can't enter, even go shopping for anything if you don't have your card that shows that you're a good sheep. This is disgusting, and we need to stand up for this. Even if you are not in this kind of country, they are coming for you. You can see what these people are saying. Just lock down for a few weeks and then it's all over. Just lock down for another month, another year. You must have your vaccines, and no, you still have to be locked down. Even the vaccines, they will never ever be satisfied. They want to push until you start a civil war, basically. Don't start a civil war, that is what they want. So hold the line and don't give them one single inch. If you do, they will take yet another inch, and yet another one, and yet another one. Then we'll see what happens. I think they eventually will just give up, run away and hide when they can't push people around anymore. Someone who isn't pushed around, Mubian said, or Mr. Bean, not Mr. Bean, Dr. Bean, he's making fun of his own name, I think. He did a great short description of why ivermectin works in 6 minutes. And the interesting part that I found interesting was the last one, that ivermectin dampen the immune system so that it also helps against the cytokine storm, unlike stuff like the other antiviral drugs. They are not helpful at all against the cytokine storm, but ivermectin seems to be working against that too. In Sweden, the excess deaths are the lowest in Europe, except our neighboring countries, Germany, which is sort of neighboring, and Greece for some reason. But otherwise, the excess mortality is higher in every other country in Europe. Does this stop the so-called right-wing, crazy right-wing in Sweden to say that we need more lockdowns, more masks, put masks on dogs and so on? What the crazy people are saying, because, well, they don't like the Social Democrats, and if you don't like the Social Democrats, then you have to become a fascist apparently and do everything opposite of that. I'm so sick of this kind of reasoning, which is black and white. Sorry for bringing your mood down there, but good news that Sweden and Germany and Greece have very low death rates. Norway actually got lower what's called mortality than they had the last 5 years this year, so they had some more sniffles before. Some science about the origin of this SARS-CoV-2 and some science about lockdowns linked below there. I will not talk much about it. Then some good news for me. I drink a lot of cocoa powder in my coffee and in my beer, so I spend a lot of money on that. But thanks to all the lockdowns and the COVID scare, the cocoa is now getting really cheap, so that's good. And it's also good, of course, that people eat less candy, like sweet chocolate. Don't eat sweet chocolate, eat more not sweet chocolate, because the cocoa is quite good nutrition, contains a lot of magnesium and minerals and stuff like that. So nothing wrong with having some cocoa powder in your coffee, in your cream, in your beer. Beer is not that healthy, but what the F. So skål, as we say in Swedish.